Okay, so today we're gonna go over testing the chemistry. We're just gonna run through all 5 of the tests. 2, chlorine and pH, are going to be weekly tests that we perform, and then the last 3, total alkalinity, calcium hardness, and stabilizer, cyanuric acid. Those are going to be done once a month. Okay, there are others such as when you test the salt. We'll have another video for that. But your 5 primary tests that you're going to do at every pool across the board are going to be using this test kit. Okay, so we'll start by testing the chlorine and pH. You've got this nice test tube. Okay, so the big tube, we're going to test the pH. The small tube, we're going to test the chlorine. Okay, so what you want to do when you're getting your water sample is reach down about 12 to 18 inches, so approximately the length of your forearm, to get that water sample. Okay, so I'm going to reach down. So when I reach down, I've got the test tube face down, and then I'm just going to turn it right side up once it's down at that depth. Okay, so I will knock the water level down. Okay, so you can see this meniscus, it should be in line with that top line. Okay, so once I get the pH water at the right level, I'm just gonna very loosely shake out the water, so that then on our small test tube I'm at that top line as well. Okay, so now that I've got the water sample, we're going to take number 1 reagent, so it's the first one in the row of the yellow tops. We're going to put in 5 drops. Okay, when you drop the dropper, you want it to be vertically, so straight up and down rather than turn to the side. That way you get full drops. So 5 drops of number 1. We're going to take our brown bottle. Okay, so this is number 2 reagent. You will get reagents that have nice labels. These do not, because they're a little bit old. Okay, so we're going to do 5 drops of number 2. Okay, we'll let that sit. We're going to take our red, number 4. Okay, we're going to use this to test our pH. Hold it vertically. 5 drops of number 4 in the big test tube. Okay, I just always rinse my hands before covering it. You can use this piece to cover, so you can either cover, make sure that it's secured and turn it that way, or you can just cover it with your thumb and then the palm of your hand, like so. Okay, and we don't want to shake it, we don't want to agitate it too much. We're just going to turn it upside down and then right side up very gently, so that it mixes, the reagent mixes throughout the water. Okay, so then I usually hold it up to a white background. Okay, so this tile, this travertine is excuse me, the coping, the travertine coping is a pretty white color. Okay, so I can usually see it pretty visibly. If not, you want to kind of avoid looking at it straight into the sun. You're going to get a slightly altered reading. So for all intents and purposes, right here we can just look, we can use the white background of the coping. I would typically find a shady spot where you can hold it up to maybe clouds behind you or something along those lines that might help. Okay, so I'm looking at this with the white background. I'm getting about 7.5, and then it looks like 7.8. Okay, so you're not going to probably be able to tell from when I hold it up here, but we've got 7.5 and 7.8. We're going to dump that solution out, and then we want to make sure that we have rinsed our test tube out thoroughly. Okay, so usually about 3 times. I'll fill it up 3 times and dump it all out. Okay, we're going to reach down at depth again. We're going to fill this big test tube, so this one right here, and we're going to basically just flick the water out until the meniscus is at that middle line right here. Okay, we're going to take our green bottles, our green top. Okay, so the first one in line is number 7. Okay, so we're going to do 2 drops of number 7. Okay, and we're going to add 5 drops of number 8. It's a clear bottle that has a green solution, a green reagent. We're going to put in 5 drops of number 8. And then this time, rather than covering it with my hand, I'm just going to swirl it around. Okay, see? So I've got just kind of basically loosely in my hand, and I'm swirling it around. Okay? So that mixes the solution pretty well. And then we're going to take our last bottle, green bottle, and use the number 9 reagent. This time we're going to count the number of drops. So I usually put in 2 drops to start out with, and then I'm going to mix it around. Okay, and then I'll put in 2 more. So that's 4 drops. That's 5. I'm mixing it around again. 6. Okay, so you'll notice it's changed. It started out as green. Now we're like a slightly darker green. It's almost like a gray. Okay, so that was 6. There's 7. We're going to swirl around again, and you will see that it's changed to a nice pink color. Once it turns pink, that's the solution is completely reacted, and we can dump it out. Okay, so that was 7 drops. That means our alkalinity is 70. Okay, again, rinse it thoroughly. We're going to reach down at depth. And same thing, we're going to flick the water out until we get to the halfway line again. Okay, so now we're going to be testing our calcium hardness. Let's cap everything. We're going to test calcium hardness. So we'll take our reagent number 10, and we're going to do 20 drops of number 10. Okay, so 20 drops of number 10. We're going to take our purple solution, number 11. We're going to put in 5 drops of number 11. Okay, so that's 5. And then same thing, loosely hold in the hand, and we're going to swirl it around. The number 11 reagent's a little bit thicker, so you might have to agitate it a little bit more. Okay, so we're just lightly swirling. You get a nice pink color. Hopefully you can see that. And we're going to count the number of drops of number 12 it takes to turn it from pink to purple. So I usually start out with about 8 to 10 drops, because if your calcium level is right, the range is 150 to 500, which is a minimum of 15 drops. So I usually start out with 10, shake it around and see if it's got any sort of reaction, and then I will progress by adding about 5 drops from there on. So this one I just added 4. Okay, so it still hasn't reacted. Okay, so it is a very faint purple, but the color has definitely changed right here. Okay, so that was at 24 drops. So that means our calcium levels are 240. You just multiply the number of drops by 10 to get your actual calcium hardness reading. Okay, so again, hopefully you can see that it's changed to a purple from a pink. We can dump that out. Again, rinse your test tubes thoroughly. Okay, now we're going to test our stabilizer. This one's slightly different. You will notice in the bottom of this test tube there's a black dot. So you'll see in the very center there's a black dot at the bottom of the test tube. We're going to test our stabilizer using that small tube, and we're going to add the solution until you can't see that dot anymore. Okay, so with stabilizer, we're going to take this bottle, this white top, it's got a little squirt top, and then you'll see my labels are written in marker, or my lines. You will have a actual container that's in good shape. Okay, so what we're going to do here, we're going to unscrew the top, and we're going to fill the water to the bottom line. Okay, so I usually rinse it out no matter what, because it's got other test samples and that might not have rinsed it out thoroughly. Okay, so pretty much I do the same thing. I'll flick it. Okay, flick it until the meniscus, this might be hard to see, the meniscus is at the right at that line, that black line. Okay, and then I'm going to take my stabilizer. Okay, so that's the white top. It'll say R013. We're going to add that to the top line. Okay, so essentially it's a 1-to-1 mixture of the stabilizer reagent and water, and the water in the pool. Go ahead and cap it. We're going to cap this one as well, and we're going to start shaking it around. Okay, so hopefully you can see, but our line, we're at the top line right now. So you want to agitate it. This one you can actually shake. You want to let it sit. It says let it sit about 90 seconds. Okay, so we'll just let it sit for a second and kind of react with the water. And for the purpose of this video, we're not going to sit here the whole time, but we're going to go ahead and open this squirt top. We'll open that up, and then we're going to squirt the water into this small tube until we can't see that black dot. Okay, so hopefully you'll be able to see that it's a lot cloudier, excuse me. All right, you won't be able to get the same visual that I can get from this angle, but we're going to add it until we can't see that dot anymore. Okay, so I cannot see that dot any longer. Okay, so I don't know if you'll be able to see that. Maybe not. Okay, but when you can't see the dot anymore, you're going to look on the side, and there are a list of numbers from 30 up to 100. And you're just going to match the level of the water where the meniscus is with the number that is to the right of it. Okay, so in this case, we are right at about 85 for our stabilizer. Okay? So that is how you test chemistry using the Taylor test kit. You always want to rinse your stuff out. We're just going to pour this solution in the water. And we're going to rinse everything out, rinse all the samples out, so that we don't cause any misreadings for the next pool that we're going to test. Okay, so that's how you use the Taylor test kit, and you can do a full chemistry check. Again, chlorine and pH is weekly. Alkalinity, calcium hardness, and stabilizer or cyanuric acid are going to be once-a-month checks. There will be videos following about what each of those elements and what each of those tests is actually testing, and what they do in the water, how they operate, and what those tests actually mean. So tune into that video, but this is how you do a full chemistry test.